our identity is the root of all of our results and everything we're experiencing. So how do we identify our identity? We just look at our world. Like your world, the relationships you experience, the money that you have, the car that you drive, the house, it's all a reflection of that identity. And when you start to notice these patterns start showing up, you realize that there's elements of your identity that are part of what I consider your false self, your false ego. Your false ego are the places where you feel resistance, where you feel like you can't be loved or you can't have enough, the areas in our life where we feel stuck in scarcity or these sabotaging habits and behavior.
Can't be contained.
That's what I'm talking about. What's up, you guys? I am so excited to be back with you here in the Can't Be Contained podcast. You guys, we're doing a virtual Can't Be Contained podcast for the first time ever, which I'm so excited about. And I got to bring in my amazing friend, Gerald. Thank you so much for being here, dude. I'm so happy.
My whole body just gets lit up and then starts tingling anytime I get the thought of hanging out with Sam. So I am just so pumped up. I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to hang out with Sam today. So it's an honor. I'm so excited that we get to share whatever we're going to share with your beautiful peeps.
I have this core memory of being, it was January 2019, and we're sitting front row at Tony Robbins at the Financial Mastermind in Whistler. And I just remember having this moment. I looked over at you. You were on my left, and I believe you were wearing a unicorn sweatshirt, if my memory.
Yeah, that full that. We'll try.
And I just remember this decision I made in that moment was, this person's going to be in my life forever. And so I feel so grateful that over the years I've been able to call you a friend and a brother and just someone that I just absolutely love dropping in with. And whenever we hang out, magic is created. And I'm just so grateful that we get to do this. So the first question to kick us off. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to express that too, just like the gratitude, when you find your peeps, when you find your tribe, when you find your soul family, there's something that ignites inside of us. And I just remember like the moment meeting you, it's like your energy combined with my energy, it just like ignited something inside of me. It's like there's this like soul alchemy that occurs when you meet your soul family. And I feel that every time I'm with you, every time I think of you, every time I see your posts on social media, my whole soul goes like, oh my gosh, there's my soul sister. And it just gets excited.
The universe is really serving up something special the last 8 months or something with us. Like, we didn't plan to hang out, but we just kept arriving at the same locations. And I just freaked out every single time I saw you.
Every time it happened, I was like, yes, universe, more please. Yes.
More please. More of this good stuff. More of this good stuff. So, Gerald, what is the number one thing that's making you feel alive right now?
Do you know what I'm like really immersed in is just the creation energy of like taking a big vision and like bringing life to it. So for right now, what that looks like is we're giving birth to our fourth year on the playa of Burning Man. We're building the legendary playground of the gods. And like, it's so fun cultivating this creation and bringing in our soul tribe and soul family and doing something that's hard together. Cause I think that's how tribe is built. I think that's how like you really forge like deep friendships, is like when you build something, you create something together and it's challenging.
Yeah, I love that so much. I love that. I'm gonna make it one day. I promise.
Okay, so we're listening to you.
Every year, guys, like 3 months before Burning Man, no, like 6 months before Burning Man, Gerald sent me a text. He's like, "Is this the year? Is this the year that we do the thing?" Hey, I haven't said no yet to this year, but I might be too late.
I always have space for the magic of Samantha Skelly. There's always space in the legendary playground of the gods.
That sounds so good, dude. So what I love about your energy, what I love about the gift that you are to the world and the gift that you give to the world is you really, truly operate from this place of, the word that's coming to mind right now is potential. I just feel like you are one of these beings who is constantly dancing with the potentiality of what it means to be human and how we can use this life, use this gift, use planet Earth as this playground to express ourselves. And my curiosity is, how the fuck did that come online for you? Because I think that's one of the things that people are desiring most in life is this creative force, this pull, this like, the word that's coming to me is throbbing, but you know, it's like this like aliveness, this like life force, and using this life force to create, to play, to just like dance with, and you do that effortlessly, and I get to see that, and I get to be front row to that in your life and how you do it. But what does it take for someone to be in that energy and adapt that way of being?
You know, I really appreciate the question, and like flashing back to like just chapters of my life. I think there's always been a part of my soul that's craved growth, you know, like Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs, and there's definitely a part of my soul that's always been driven by uncertainty and growth. But I spent so much of my life stuck and stagnant, you know, like trying to like grip onto this identity of who I thought I was supposed to be in order to gain love and approval, right? And so there was a very long period of my life where I would consider myself, you know, this seems like a derogatory term, but like this is how I experience people that are really stuck in that matrix. Like I was one of the walking dead. You know, I would wake up and I would do my thing. I would go through my habits and routines, and I was just like trying to like fit in this like realm of conformity. And there came a point where I just realized the price of doing that was too much. Like my soul was being suffocated. This mask that I was wearing to try to gain love and approval from the people outside of me, it just wasn't serving my soul anymore. And there was like this reinvention that was called forth. And what I realized is going on this path of authentic soul purpose is terrifying as fuck, right? Because it requires us to like really question the deepest core of who we really are, who we are beyond the stories of who we should be. And so probably for the last 15 years, I've just been in this cycle of building and then burning down and building and burning down, and like this like phoenix rising from the ashes every time. Is like I've been in this stage of reinvention, because I find that it's in the reinvention, the newness of discovery of who I am, that I feel most alive in. And I think it requires us to do this courageous step of unknowing, you know, like so often we're committed to what we think we know, but what we know is always where we get stuck. It's always where we get blocked. You know, what we know is perfectly sufficient to keep us where we're at. But for those of us who are, you know, these seekers, we know that there's something beyond, but it requires us to unknow who we are, to pursue the edges of possibility in our life, and to explore like what is really possible. So I think for anyone that's probably listening to this, if you look at your life, there's probably at least one area in your life that you're in a place of massive change or reinvention or rediscovery. But I would say the most important thing in that process is to just practice the art of unknowing.
How do we balance the duality of the seeker, the part of us that is seeking something different, seeking like a new way of being, and then the part of us that gets to be in awe of what is, in awe of the present moment? I feel like the reason why I'm asking this question is because it's something that I am constantly playing with, right? It's like there is this deep seeker in me that is like always pushing the edges of all areas of my life, right? So my financially, in my health, in my spirituality, in my relationships, in everything. And for me, sometimes finding the balance of my seeker, my overachiever, the part of me that is like so ruthlessly curious about the magic and the miracles that are possible, and also how can I be present and be in deep appreciation of everything that is. Can you talk about that a little bit, how that shows up in your life?
Yeah, and I think you're modeling it perfect for people. I love your words, by the way. Like the way you communicate it's so yummy to my soul. How you use the word, it's ruthlessly curious. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a fun vibration to hook onto. Let's be ruthlessly curious, like be relentless in our pursuit of what's possible. but then also just be in that query of like, okay, what's magic right now that if I get fully immersed in this moment,
Yeah.
what can I allow myself to receive? Because as we immerse ourselves in the moment, then we realize that, oh my gosh, everything that I want, it's already here. And I can be ruthlessly curious about the possibilities of the future, but still be in full embodiment of the magic that's right here. And so there's a practice that I have. I call it being a magic moment millionaire. You know, I think there's lots of different forms.
I like that.
I like it.
More of a lot.
I think that there's so many different forms of abundance in the universe, so many ways of defining success. You know, for some people, you know, money is a form of measurement of success. And there's also relationships and all these different things. For me, the way that I find the most feeling, the most embodied experience of wealth is like being a magic moment millionaire. How much can I appreciate? How much can I feel? How much can I be in wonder and awe? How many times, like, this is a great question for everyone to consider, is like, how many times a day do you say the word wow? Like, just say that. Wow. Right? And to like just be in that like awe, like right now the blossoms are all over Utah in spring, and I like walk out, I was like, wow. Or I look at the mountains, I'm like, wow. Or I look at the sunset, wow. Or I look at my lover, I'm like, wow. Or I see Samantha, wow. Right? Like, if we can be in that moment, that like wow frequency, there's like this magic that opens up for us.
Yeah.
And so often we miss the wow because we're pursuing. Actually, this is good. We miss the wow because we're out of the now pursuing the how.
Oh shit, that is really good. Wow, dude, we need to get tattoos of that. That is fucking legit. We miss the wow because we're not in the now and we're pursuing the how.
I love that.
Let's get t-shirts made. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. Send it to you. I love that.
I'm gonna tattoo it on my butt. So,
this one time I met this guy and he said your name, like on his butt it said your name, and he came up to me and he's like, I've got your name tattooed on my butt. I'm like, what? And then he like showed me his butt and it just said your name.
That is, you gotta admire that commitment to that one joke, you know, like he's like, I'm gonna stick with this joke for the rest of my life. The
amount of times he used that line, oh my God. I hope he used it on his like now wife. You know, I hope that's the reason why she started dating him. Chris Reynolds. I even remember his name, Chris Reynolds. That's so funny.
Oh, that's so funny. But like I think this practice of presence, it is a practice. You know, when we were going through Tony Robbins, like one of the most impactful things from Date Was Destiny was when he was like teaching us about finding our core question. What's the core question that drives you, that motivates you? Most people are driven by questions like, you know, why aren't I enough? Or how can't feel love? Like most people have these. For me, the new question that I took on that is still like an anchor for me is like, how can I experience even more of the infinite magic that exists in this moment right now?
Oh, that's
good. How can I experience even more of the infinite magic that exists in this moment right now? How can I experience even more of the infinite magic that exists in this moment right now? And I've said that question so many times that it's anchored deep inside me, so that when I actually slow down and take a breath, I'm like, holy wow. There's wow everywhere. There's wow in the flowers. There's wow in the breath. There's wow in the fact, like, how often do you like flip on the lights and go, wow, this is amazing, or pick up your phone, like, wow, like all of these things we take for granted because we're just quote unquote used to them. But what if we can actually allow ourselves to be immersed in the wow of now?
Whenever I'm flying over cities and I look down on the city, I am in wow, like how is this working with all of these people and all these things? And then I'm like, so many people are taking a shit right now and that's going somewhere. How is all of this working simultaneously? You know, it is actually extraordinary. And it's about how can we add magic back in the mundane? How can we take those moments where it's so easy to be like thinking about the thing that we have to do next, or not truly acknowledging how beautiful that one moment is, or just, on more of like a macro scale, like the brilliance of being a human being on planet Earth, like the amount of things that had to line up in order for you to be a human being on planet Earth. Like, that's extraordinary. How can we acknowledge that? Like, holy crap. Yeah, dude, I remember all of the, like, we had so much fun during our Tony Robbins years. Like, I had, like, I have so many good memories, but it was mostly just, us yelling affirmations in massive conference rooms at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, we played hard.
Yeah, that was my last year being single before I, like, got hooked up. That was my last year being, single and traveling the world and doing all sorts of weird Tony Robbins things, and then boom, enter relationship.
Yeah, it changes everything, doesn't it? Yeah. But I think this conversation is like really important because it's so easy for us to get bored with the normal or the routine in life. But like talking about relationships as an example, I've been with my beautiful partner for 5 years, and it's so easy to just get used to that person being in your life and like doing life. And it's so easy even to start focusing on what you don't like, right? To focus on what's wrong or what they could do better or like what's missing. And the moment our attention goes towards that, or we miss out on the wow. Like, how extraordinary is it that we have a human being that like wants to do life with us? How extraordinary is it that we have someone that wants to play with us? How extraordinary it is that we have someone to like make a mess with and clean it up with, and like all of that. And so I really like focus a lot with my beautiful partner. She's magical, but I focus on unknowing her all the time. What I mean is, like,
more about this.
It's like getting out of the perception of who I think she is and just being curious. Like, wow, okay. Like, and I just get curious about like what's alive in her heart now, not the story that I built over 5 years. It's like, wow, what's important to you? Like, what do you feel like? What's it like? Like, give me a glimpse of the world through your eyes. And when I can actually be present to the now of her, there's this magic that I get to witness that doesn't happen if I'm in the used to part of my brain or the knowing part of my brain. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes so much sense. And it's so such a beautiful reminder of how we can activate awe through appreciation. It's like that deep feeling of awe. But I love what you said about, it's similar in like the family systems, right? It's like sometimes we get out of our family systems, we go do a lot of work, and we come back, and our family members can view us as like the old version of us, right?
Yeah.
And what you're inviting in is this new narrative of like, every single day I'm going to look at you with fresh eyes. Every single day I'm going to be in such wonder of this being and who this being is becoming, moment by moment, day by day. And that's such a beautiful thing. And it allows us to not get stuck in the past of who they used to be, but really look at it for what it is in this moment. And especially, relationships like yourself and my Rose and myself and Eric, we're always growing. The four of us are on a pursuit to grow constantly. So because of that, of course, the relationship is going to always move and meld and just, it's like this living, breathing thing, and just being present to the magnificence of it flourishing and parts falling away, parts coming together. It's just, wow. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I think as we give our partner or whoever we're with, or family member, or brother or sister, or mom, or whoever it might be, when we give them permission to be someone different today than who they were yesterday, it also unlocks something inside of us that can change and evolve and grow. Because I know I'm not the same person I was when you met me. I had short blue hair and wore unicorn sweaters around, and like, I love having soul family that there's space enough within people I know that I'm not restricted to who I used to be.
Yeah, it is so beautiful. In my friendship group, we do this practice called Who's Here Now. And we get into a circle, and it's basically just that. Who is here now? Who are you now? And it's this opportunity for each of us to share this new being of like, here's who I am now. Here's what I'm learning now. Here's the lessons. And then we do this like cool energetic practice where we like transmit without words. It's just like just pure energy, transmit a energetic transmission to the groups to be able to be seen and felt in who's here now. And it gives us like this awareness of like, oh my gosh, yes, you were absolutely not the person you were 5 years ago. This morning I was on a phone call with one of my closest friends, and I was explaining to her how there was, you know, someone who worked for us that we needed to release. And I just had such clarity I was like, this is my decision and this is why it's a no for me, and da-da-da-da-da. And I was just like explaining to Mandy that what happened yesterday. And she just turns to me and she goes, do you realize you would have never done that 5 years ago? And I'm like, tell me more. She's like, well, let's look at your patterns with the people that worked for you 5 years ago. And, you know, it was like this part of me that was like, I'm more concerned about being your friend than I am being like a really good leader. And it's just beautiful to have like the reflection from our soul tribe, our community of like, wow, look how far you've come. You know, because in our own lives, it's like we're working these pieces and we're working these parts, but then to see them, you know, reflected back with people that we love is just a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
It really is. And I think isn't it funny when you hear about people that say, oh yeah, I know Samantha, or I know Gerald. Like, I'm like, do you though? Do you know me? Because like some of these people that say know me, I'm like, okay, maybe we met years ago, or maybe you experienced me through social media, or maybe we might have actually had like an experience as friends years ago, but you don't know me. Like, I barely know myself. My partner barely knows me, right? Like, how can anyone else claim that they know me? Like, and so I think it's really sometimes funny, especially for someone like you that's an influencer. Like, yeah, I know Samantha. Like, really? Do you? But I think learning for ourselves to like really separate our identity from others' perceptions of who they think we are.
Go deeper.
Well, I think there's a tendency of humankind where we tend to try to observe ourselves through other people's eyes, right? And we try to be someone that other people respect, or be someone that other people want us to be, or be someone that is liked, or be someone that is popular, or whatever that like whatever we're trying to do to elevate our perception in other people's eyes. But there's a limit, you know, to how we can experience the fullness of who we are when we're filtering our expression based on their perception. And
yes.
And so like this idea of authentic living, like full unapologetic expression, it's a practice. Like, who would I be if I wasn't trying to worry about bless you. See, I love that unapologetic expression of that too. That's beautiful.
I was like, I can hold this back, but he's talking about authenticity, so I'm going to fucking sneeze.
Just let it out, Samantha. Let it out.
The first time I sneeze, Eric's like, bless you. The second time he's like, bless you. The third time he's like, okay, be quiet now.
Oh, okay, get over it now. What amazing is just your authentic soul just trying to be expressed, you know?
I think it's part of my brand. I think I sneeze probably like 200 times a day. It's very odd.
Isn't it satisfying? Like, I love a good sneeze almost more than anything.
Same.
For me, it's almost not quite, but close to the level of joy I feel like when I orgasm. There's just like the explosion of energy. What's right? I just feel, but I have like a full body like sneeze where I have to like brace myself and get in position. All right, it's coming. Right, and it's just like so much energy. If I try to look the other way, I have thrown out my back so many times.
Are you kidding me?
No, like it, but when I'm like fully on, it's like, it's coming, guys. Watch out, clear out. Oh, right. Oh, I feel so sad.
Don't they say a sneeze is 1/4 of an orgasm? So making that comparison actually makes a lot of sense. Like, that's what we used to say in like 4th grade. Like, you just had 1/4 of an orgasm. Like, it was like a thing.
So if you have 200 sneezes per day, how many orgasms? That's like 25 orgasms a day.
I'm terrible at math, but it's probably something like that. I was studying last week the science of an orgasm because my next keynote that I'm doing is all around aliveness. So it's like everything's about like aliveness and activating our aliveness. I'm like, what makes us feel most alive? Like the question that I've asked on my podcast. It's funny that I'm doing a keynote on aliveness because since 2015, the first question that I've asked on my show is, what is the number one thing that makes you feel alive? And then the whole talk on aliveness just this year, what was that, 7 years later, 8 years later, whatever, just all just channeled through. I'm like, that's interesting. And so I've been studying like what makes us feel alive. And obviously like everyone's answer to that on Instagram is like an orgasm. I'm like, okay, let's break that down. Like, what's the science of an orgasm and how do we do that without orgasming all day long? How do we stay in a constant state of an orgasm without actually being in an orgasm?
Sneeze all day. You figured out the code already.
Guys, I got it. It's actually not breath work. Fuck that. It's actually just sneezing.
When you get next to the next course you have is transformational sneeze work, right? Where just people get together,
Exactly.
right? And they sneeze for an hour straight. Achoo. Come on, guys. Achoo. Achoo.
I'm trying to convince my marketing team to launch a course called the Queef Code, which is vagina breathwork, and they're still not going for it. I've asked like so many times. I'm like, come on, guys, that'd be so funny.
But world,
They're like, we don't
the world
think
needs
so.
this now.
The world, this is my greatest contribution to the world is the Queef Code, you guys. Okay?
You know, there was a day not too long ago where people would have heard the word breath work and they're like, that sounds ridiculous. Like, why would we ever do that? And so I think you're just on the cutting edge right now. Queef work is kind of like maybe like 10 years from now, everyone's going to be like a queef work facilitator. And
I think I should follow this intuitive hunch. I remember like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, right before I launched Pause, I reached out to one of my mentors then and just really good friends now, Cameron Harold. And I was like, yo, I got it. And he's like, what? I'm like, I'm going to start a breathwork company. And he's like, that's fucking stupid. And he's like, I don't think so. I'm like, no. Trust me, this is going to be good. And like now, 8 years later, he's like, I eat my words. You were so right. So sometimes we just got to follow those crazy ideas inside of us. And you never know. The Queef Code could be my next big thing. We don't know. We just don't know. You just got to go for it and see what happens, you know? What are you most excited about right now? What's happening over there? Obviously, you're going to Burning Man and you are Burning Man. You are the Burning Man. So obviously you're excited about that. What else?
Yeah. The only thing, like I've been like really diving deep and following like the nudges of the universe is for last 15 years I've done hypnosis and NLP as like a gateway for transformation and all of our. Well, yeah, okay, I'm waiting. Bring it.
Okay, just wait. I just had like a brain orgasm. I was at an event last week and the girls were telling me about your transformational hypnotic show. Dude, I didn't realize you were that good at that. I thought it was just something that you kind of sort of did. And apparently you're like a master. I just had this conversation with the girls.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. I'm so curious who you were talking to. But yeah,
it was like Jen Hootie, Lisa Sasevich, Tamar, like all those girls. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a fun way to teach about the power of the mind. So I do a power of the mind hypnosis show where I'm hypnotizing people and it's hilarious, but at the same time, I'm infusing all of these principles. So for instance, during this show, I'll hypnotize everyone, like I'll have them sleep. And then the moment you wake up, you no longer can see me as a hypnotist. So I'm completely invisible to them, but you can see anything I hold in my hand. And the moment I say the number 3 and you open your eyes, you are deathly afraid of pink teddy bears, right? So I give them this command, 1, 2, 3, why do I? And they open their eyes and I bring out a pink teddy bear and it starts floating around. And these grown men are like, they're screaming and they're crying and they're running and like they're trying to like get away from this thing. It's terrifying. And then like I, just to make sure that they don't spend the rest of their life walking around in pink teddy bear trauma, I switch the program and say, all right, the moment I say the number 3, you are so happy. The moment you see pink teddy bear, it makes you feel better than you've ever felt before. 1, 2, 3. And then all of a sudden they're crying with love and they're touching it and they're just like, oh my gosh, you can tell that they're in pure bliss. You witness the expression of these emotions and it's hilarious. But then I turn to the audience and I say, isn't it ridiculous that they might be afraid of a pink teddy bear, but isn't it equally ridiculous that you might be afraid of picking up the phone and calling a stranger or meeting someone new or starting a business or launching a book? What if all fear was a form of hypnosis? And so throughout the show, like I'm embedding all of these like awarenesses of how the mind works and how to actually program that. So for the last 15 years, I've done the show, and I've like worked in our seminars and workshops and helping people through the path of subconscious reprogramming. I still love that, through hypnosis and NLP. But over the last 8 years, I've gotten more and more immersed in the world of plant medicine and witnessing how in a very intentional, entheogenic journey, a ceremonial journey using plant medicine, like we can do like 10 years of therapeutic work in someone's soul and helping them evolve their identity and break through trauma. And so using plant medicine as a gateway for accelerated healing is something like my soul is so called to. And so we're actually building this group called the Alliance, which is psychedelic enthusiasts and retreat center owners and people that really understand the power of the ceremonial use of psychedelics to accelerate the transformation of humankind. And so that's what lights me up. And I'm super excited to bring the best in like neuro reprogramming strategies and these ancient alchemical, practices and tools into a place where more and more people can experience, the magic that's there. So that's what excites me.
I love that you're on this journey. And I remember the very first time I did mushrooms was probably like 13 years ago or something. And it's just so interesting to see how the world's moving and how people are more and more open to it. And I just remember thinking to myself, if all of the leaders of the world did a mushroom ceremony, this world would be such a different place. I really do believe that these medicines are here to shape us, to awaken us, to heal us. And it's really profound. It's so profound.
It's profound. I've said that too. Like if I actually, maybe I'll make this pitch right now, because it's election year. And let's face it, no one's excited about our two candidates. Like no one actually wants either of them. So this is my pitch for presidency. Okay, there's 3 platforms. All right. Remember, are you ready for this?
I'm so ready. Hit me.
The first is the COVID law, which is every year we shut down the country for 2 weeks. Just shut it down. Everyone just has to stay home, be with their family, go outside. All non-essential businesses are shut down. And for 2 weeks, you just get to like be with your family. So that's the first thing, right?
Yeah.
Second thing is Taco Tuesdays, right? So rather than rather than alienating all these poor immigrants, let's just like give them a place where every Tuesday, free tacos for everyone. All right. So that's maybe not my best idea, but I think people like it. I mean, who's going to complain? Like taco stands all over the world for Tuesdays. Like,
I mean, I love tacos. That's basically why I moved to San Diego, because the tacos here are so bomb.
Yeah. And then the third thing is just take all the global leaders that are experiencing challenges and wars and put them in a room and give them MDMA, right? and just in that moment, like give them a space where they can actually see each other and realize, hey guys, guess what? We're on the same team. There's like these nation things, they're just the illusion. We're actually all humans on this one planet, and we all want the same thing. We all want to thrive. We all want to feel safe. We all want to feel abundant. So rather than like whatever this quarreling thing and fight thing is, like, let's come together. What do you need, and how can I help you? And so,
I actually love the third one. I think the third one is the best. You know what I've been playing with in my head a little bit is like, okay, I love this. Team human. I say this all the time. I'm like, team human. Let's realize that we are just humans. We are all part of the same human race. But I was like, do you think it's either going to be the aliens or the robots, where we're like, shit, we got to stop fighting each other because the aliens and the robots are here. I think the aliens are going to do good things. But what about the robots? Like they could mess with us, right? So then we're like, we can't divide. We need to be together so we can all fight the robots together.
Yeah. And what if the robots are on our team too? What if AI is fully aligning for our best?
Oh my gosh. Yes, please.
And the aliens come, it's like, hey, this looks like fun. I want to be on your team too. And everyone just works together.
I think this is a great idea. This is like, I vote for this. I will vote on that.
Okay. I actually being president would be the last thing in the world I could ever imagine wanting. But
I was going to say, tell me you don't want that.
no, I honestly like, yeah, I don't want to go into the rant, but I really feel like there's so much healing that needs to be done around the idea of democracy because it's not working, and what I really want for humanity is a space where, yeah, we just like really look out for each other,
Do you think that will ever happen?
I think it's happening now, I think there's like ripple effects and there's communities and there's places. I think it's happening more now than ever before.
For sure.
And
for sure.
and I think there's going to be a tipping point. But I feel like all of the work that we do individually helps the collective. And so it's so easy to get it stuck in like all the problems out there. But if we each just like take full sovereignty and accountability for whatever problems we can fix in here, I feel like that's the healing the world needs. It's the healing inside of you and me.
So true, dude. And that's the mission that's on your life. That's the mission that's on my life. And the more that we get to do that and do that in collaboration and do that in connection, the more fun we get to have, the more unification the world gets to experience. And the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. I feel it. I'm with you on this. And I feel very hopeful for the future.
Yeah. And it's fun to see evidence of that every day. Every new person I talk to that's on this path and on this wavelength, I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. I was just having a conversation with a friend at lunch who I just barely met, but he's like building this AI platform, and this AI is like really designed, like his whole platform, whole business is how to accelerate the healing and transformation of the planet and just make it easier for humans to focus on their purpose and not get stuck on the things that they're not supposed to be doing. And every person I meet like that, and even conversations like this, it's like, oh my gosh, the healing is happening. The planet is evolving, and like those that are being called to are waking up, and those that are not quite ready, they're getting more ready.
So I've heard you say identity a couple times, and this ability to shift our identity, which ultimately changes the trajectory of our life or changes our perception of life. Can you walk us through how to first identify the identities that we're holding on to, how to first get aware of the identities that are not serving us, how to then shift them into something more productive, more aligned, more empowering?
Thank you so much for the question, because this is, I think, at the core of the work that I'm doing on the planet. I call it identity work, or what I call soul alchemy. The process of transforming from who we've been to who we're meant to be. There's this alchemization that happens in our soul as we're moving from the caterpillar into the butterfly. There's this like chrysalis that all of us are going through it all the time. Tony Robbins once said that, well, he probably said it 1,000 times. I've heard it. But anyways.
One time,
this guy named Tony Robbins said, the greatest power, greatest force in the human experience is our need to stay consistent with our identity. It's in our identity. And Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, says you can never outperform your self-image. Like our identity, our identity is the root of all of our results and everything we're experiencing. So how do we identify our identity? We just look at our world. Like your world, the relationships you experience, the money that you have, the car that you drive, the house, it's all a reflection of that identity. And when you start to notice these patterns start showing up, you realize that there's elements of your identity that are part of what I consider your false self, your false ego. Your false ego are the places where you feel resistance, where you feel like you can't be loved or you can't have enough, the areas in our life where we feel stuck in scarcity or these sabotaging habits and behaviors. That's our false self that's gripping us into our, what we've experienced. And everything in our world, everything that you experience is a reflection of your past way of being, believing, and behaving. So everything in your world is simply a printout of the programs that you've been running in the past. And what's useful about that is if we keep living from that same identity, we keep creating the same thing over and over again. Even if someone gets out of a relationship because it's toxic, if they're still operating from the same identity, they'll just create that same relationship with a new person. over and over again because that's what their identity believes that they subconsciously deserve. I think we've all heard this quote that says, you don't get what in life what you want, you get in life what you subconsciously believe that you deserve. And that's the identity level belief. And so the process of reprogramming that identity has lots of different aspects, but it's the power of questioning, like really just actually asking is like, okay, is this true? Do I actually really believe this or something else? The moment we ask a question, then our brain creates a state of being neuroplastic, right? There's possibility that's opened up simply by asking the question. By dreaming and visioneering things in our life and imagining them as already happening, we begin creating these new neural pathways. By surrounding ourselves with new people, by being in new environments, we create this space of neuroplasticity where our brain's like adapting and like redefining. Like one of the best things that can happen in the world, if you're like wanting changes, just move to someplace different, move into a different apartment, different city, and then all of a sudden there's this spaciousness.
Yeah.
That happens in your ability to like define, okay, what character, what version of you gets to emerge in this space. And the people you hang around are such a massive factor of that ability to reinvent. And, sometimes just doing new things, like picking up a new hobby or even like ridiculous things. Like if you're right-handed, just brush your teeth left-handed and look in the mirror and say positive. Like by doing that, your brain's like, "What's happening here?" It's like, "Oh,
what's going on?" Yeah,
and it begins like creating this space for reinvention. And I think that's the most courageous space to be in. It's terrifying because we have to, in some ways, let our old self die. In some ways, we have to release and let go of everything that's made us feel comfortable. And then in that space, it takes courage to choose to be a different expression of you on the planet. And that courage is the life you're talking about. That makes you feel alive because you're like, oh my gosh, there's something awakening inside of me as I'm trying to figure out how do these butterfly wings actually work, But to get the butterfly wings, sometimes we have to go through the primordial dew cocoon stage, which is terrifying.
I found for me the quickest and most effective way to shift my identity is through action.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. This week, I made the decision. I was like, I am going to start cooking and I'm going to be so good at it. Wow. So this whole week, I've made something. I've made like some sort of like recipe type thing every single day. And it is shaping me. And like the meal that I made last night was so good and I had so much fun doing it and it was so easy and we ate it and we finished and I was like, man, I'm really good at cooking. Like, holy crap. And like my whole life, I've always said like, oh, I'm not domestic and I'm not good at cooking. And my parents, have you met my parents so far? I feel like you have.
I don't remember that.
No, maybe not. Okay. They're so good. Like they're like gourmet level. Like we had gourmet meals for dinner every single night. Like they're amazing. And so I think I just took it for granted. I'm like, I'm always going to have it like this. And then obviously I moved out and that stopped. So I've always said like, I wish I could. And then I'm like, Sam, you can just fucking do it. And so this whole week I've been cooking and it's been so amazing. And it's like literally rewiring and shifting my identity in real time. I love it.
Oh my gosh. I love that too. One of the things that's like really helpful for me is like taking on these like little short challenges. Like they say it takes 21 days to build a new habit, right? Like whether that's true or not, just having a short-term focus like that gives my soul a lot of energy. So on Monday, I took on this yoga challenge where every single day I'm doing a yoga practice. And for me, it's like, it's such a new, neural pathway that I'm creating. But I just noticed I'm on day 4 and like every time I do it, it's like, I feel more alive, I feel more aligned, I feel more connected, I feel more energized. I'm like, okay, wow, what would that look like if this was just a practice ongoing in my life? And I know I can do it for 21 days, right? And so I tell people in my life that I care about, I speak it out loud, I envision it, and then I just, once again, like build some accountability so I stick with it. And I think that's a great way to step on the path of reinvention. What doesn't work is trying to do too many things at the same time. What doesn't work is trying to like radically, just try to reinvent your money, your health, your relationships, and like try to like instill, 8 new habits at the same time. What doesn't work is New Year's resolutions, because it's built on the wrong principles. But I think it's so fun to like just like look at like what's the micro nudge, what's that like really like new distinction that if you made this little change would create a ripple effect in your life.
So good. It's so good. I resonate with you with like the 21 day, like the challenges and just like the energy of being intentional for those 21 days or 30 days or whatever it is. I love those. I love that.
Yeah. And then I like just building like little tracking sheets. It's almost like giving myself like a little like gold star every time I complete something. There's something about celebration. Again, it's little celebrations, like literally like the little gold stars that we used to have, they work because there's
they really do
reward, and you can like visually see it. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Right?
Yeah.
To get some gold stars.
Those little hacks. I love it. Dude, it's been so epic dropping in with you and just hanging and just getting to share you with my people. I feel so grateful. Where can we all find you? What's the best place to interact with you?
Beautiful question. So on social media, Facebook, it's The Real Gerald Rogers. And on Instagram, it's Gerald R. Rogers. And I'm updating my website right now. So hopefully I have it live in a couple weeks. It's geraldrogers.com. And just like plug into my world. I love connecting with inspired people. And I love sharing, the hearted wisdom in my life with people that are willing to listen and change, right? I think for you and me, like we both share this desire to help other people shortcut their journey. Because I know I did it the hard way. I fucking went through it to learn these things. And they're like, I see them as like these really treasured codes, like these codes. It's like, oh my gosh, even like the magic moment millionaire thing. Oh my gosh, this thing changed my life. Who wants to experience this code? So anyways.
So good. So good. What are 3 unassuming facts about you?
3 unassuming facts. I have 10 kids. I think that is
so crazy.
Is one thing that kind of like shakes people up a little bit. When I was a little kid, I had a speech impediment, and I was so awkward and uncomfortable about speaking in front of people, right? Like it was like my biggest dread was getting in front of people and actually allowing myself to speak and be seen, which feels surprising for people who see me on stage now. And the third one is I love Samantha Skelly.
I thought you were gonna say that you're a grandpa. That's pretty crazy too.
Yeah, I'm a grandpa too. No one would guess that.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being a bright light in this world. I feel so honored that I get to walk this path with you and be your friend and create with you and do cool shit with you. So thank you. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being our first virtual guest on the Can't Be Contained show. This is the first time we did a virtual interview. Yay!
We'll love that. And I will always say to the universe, every time I have a chance to connect with Samantha Skelly, it's like, yes, more.
Oh my God, I love that. I love you too, dude. Have an amazing day.
All right, take care.
Can't be contained.